Sanachinathian of Berytus, a Phoenician historian, was reputedly writing in the pre-Christian era, is a figure shrouded in mystery and controversy. His works, as cited by later authors like Philo of Byblos, claim to preserve the ancient religious traditions of the Phoenicians. These texts have been interpreted as an attempt to rationalize or historicize the mythological framework of the Phoenician pantheon. Among the deities he mentions is a god referenced to as Teuo, or T-E-U-O, or Tu, T-E-U, in transliteration. This figure has drawn attention, especially in arguments framed against early Christians, where Sanachinathian's writings sought to contrast ancient pagan traditions with emerging Christian theology. The name Teo, which is T-E-U-O, or T-E-U, appears to stem from the Proto-Indo-European root Deu, and I've mentioned Deu in a few previous episodes, which stems these words stems from the Proto-Indo-European root Deu, which is linked to celestial or sky deities. In Sanachinathian's context, Teo is often associated with the heavens or divine authority, aligning him with other sky gods in Indo-European and Semitic traditions. Phoenician religion was heavily influenced by neighboring cultures, including the Egyptians, Mesopotamians, and Greeks. The inclusion of a figure like Teu may represent a syncretic blending of a local deity with Indo-European or broader Mediterranean traditions of sky worship. Sanchuniathon sought to demystify the gods, presenting them as deified historical figures or natural forces. In this light, Tueu might not only represent the sky, but also embody principles of cosmic order and authority. Sanchuniathon's writings, as preserved and adopted by Philo of Byblos, were often used by pagan philosophers in late antiquity to critique Christianity. They emphasize the antiquity and legitimacy of pagan traditions, presenting them as ritual and historically grounded in contrast to the new Christian faith. Tueo, or Tueu, may have been cited as an example of a god representing eternal cosmic principles, suggesting that these ideas predated and perhaps superseded Christian concepts of divinity. Tuau appears to be a localized manifestation or linguistic variation of a broader archetype. As mentioned earlier, Tuaz shares etymological roots with Dyu, which is D-Y-E-U, and represents justice, sky, and cosmic order. This connection reinforces the idea of Teuo, which is T-E-U-O-O, as a celestial authority figure. The Greek Zeus and Vedic Dyaeus Pitar represents the sky and fatherly authority. Tuo or Tweo, may be a Semitic adaptation or parallel of this archetype. In the Phoenician and broader Canaanite pantheon, El is a chief deity often associated with creation and the sky. Tu'oo could be a linguistic or conceptual derivative responsible and specific representing a specific aspect of El or another high god. The appearance of Tu'oo in Sanachuniathon's writings supports the idea of a universal archetype. Emphasizing light, authority, and cosmic order across diverse cultures. The Phoenicians, as maritime traders, likely integrated foreign influences into their religious practices. Tu'oo may reflect an amalgamation of local Semitic beliefs into Indo-European or other neighboring traditions. By invoking figures like Tu'oo, Sanachuniathon sought to establish the legitimacy and sophistication of Phoenician theology, contrasting it with what he perceived as the novel and less historical nature of Christian beliefs. The figure of Tu'oo, as referenced by Sanachuniathon, represents a fascinating intersection of linguistics, cultural, and theological history. While his precise identity remains speculative, the name's etymology and association with the Proto-Indo-European Dayu root suggests he was a sky god or a celestial authority figure. In Sanchuniathon's polemical writings, Tu'oo likely served as a symbol of the antiquity and legitimacy of pagan traditions, standing in contrast to the rising influence of Christianity in the ancient Mediterranean world. Now, after that, I'm going to be diving a little bit deeper. We're going to go into another interesting story, which I think a lot of people are going to be able to correlate with another story, which is quite interesting. But this is according to ancient mythology that most people don't hear about. So let me just read this and let you guys draw off of it what you may. Now this starts out with a guy by the name of Abibalus. Okay, Abibalus, also known as Abibal, which is Abibaal, was a king of Tyre in the 10th century BCE, and the father of the renowned King Hiram I. While historical records about Abibalus are scarce, his significance lies in his role as a stabilizing figure in Tyre's monarchy, and as the progenitor of a lineage that led to one of the city's most prosperous eras. Abibalus ruled during a period when Tyre was solidifying its position as a dominant maritime and trading power in the eastern Mediterranean. Tyre's wealth came primarily from its extensive trade networks, including the export of Tyrian purple dye, a luxury item highly prized in antiquity. Abibalus ensured the stability of Tyre by establishing a strong dynastic rule. This stability allowed his son Hiram I to ascend the throne without internal conflict and to focus on expanding Tyre's influence. Abibalus is remembered primarily through his son's achievements. His role is fostering a stable and prosperous kingdom. His role in fostering a stable and prosperous kingdom laid the groundwork for Hiram I's successes. Now, Hiram I, the son of Abibalus, is one of the most celebrated kings of Tyre. Now, he ruled from approximately 980 to 947 BCE and is renowned for his architectural achievements, trading alliances, and contributions to the prosperity of Tyre. Hiram expanded Tyre's territories and influence through both diplomacy and commerce. Under his reign, Tyre became the dominant Phoenician city-state. He strengthened Tyre's maritime power, expanding its trade routes and establishing colonies, including settlements that would later grow into Carthage. Hiram undertook significant construction projects, including the expansion of Tyre's harbors and building of temples and palaces. He is credited with connecting the mainland city of Tyre to its island counterpart via a massive causeway. This engineering feat improved the city's defense and made engineering feat improved the city's defense and trade capabilities. Hiram formed a famous alliance with King David and later with King Solomon of Israel. This alliance was cemented through trade agreements and mutual support. Hiram provided materials such as cedar wood and skilled labor for the construction of Solomon's temple in Jerusalem. In return, Israel supplied Tyre with agricultural goods. Hiram's alliances with Solomon is prominently featured in the Hebrew Bible, particularly in 1 Kings 5 and 2 Chronicles 2.